Hi, Year 11. I'm just going to talk you through exercise 2A, significant figures, for those of you who are having difficulties. Can you please make sure that you have watched the Maths Online lesson 8704, which I have set for you in a task on Maths Online. And if you don't know your Maths Online login, oh no, I haven't attached them, but I will find them and I'll attach it to the end of Thursday, the 30th of April. So exercise 2A is on significant figures. Significant figures is just another way of rounding, okay? So just like you rounded to the nearest so many decimal places, significant figures is rounding pretty much starting from the very first digit of whatever that number is, okay? So some of the rules that hopefully you went through and you wrote down already from Maths Online are these. Significant figures give us an indication of how accurate a measurement is. So the more significant figures a number has, the greater the level of accuracy is what it says in Maths Online. So one of the first rules is this. The first non-zero digit, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, anything not including zero, is the first significant figure. So we count that as our first digit in our rounding. All figures following the first significant figure are considered to be also significant, unless the number is a whole number that ends in zeros, and that will depend on the actual question and how it's worded. And the third rule is final zeros in any whole number may or may not be significant. Now, the Maths Online went through some really good examples, so can you please make sure you watch 8704 lesson number to help you out with those. So I'm just going to read through the ones that are here now on the sheet. So significant figures in a number are the important or meaningful figures. A crowd of 61,348 is approximately 61,000, indicating that only the first two figures or digits are important. It is impossible to cut a piece of timber to a length of 1.333333 blah 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 meters. The digits after the fourth figure are completely meaningless because they're just way too small, okay, in this case. So this is where significant figures comes in. So let's have a look at example 2A. This is from your textbook. Rounding to a given number of significant figures. So the first significant figure in a number is the first non-zero digit, like I said before. Reading from the left, going towards the right. So we're going to round each of these numbers to one significant figures and talk them through. So the first number is this one here. Let me get my pen up. 293,568. So they want us to round that to one significant figure. So what we need to do is we need to look at the first digit. The first digit is a 2. And just like with decimal places, you then have to look at the next digit after that. In this case, it's a 9. And you have to apply your rounding rules. Remember, rounding rules are, if it's 4 or less, you leave the 2 as it is. If it's 5 or more, you round the 2 up, which basically means you're just going to add 1 to the 2. So we have a digit of 9. So that means I'm going to round to one significant figure. I'm going to add 1 to 2 and make it 3. So this makes sense because 293,568 is probably closer to 300,000, isn't it, than 200,000. Hopefully you agree with me. Now you'll notice here the answer is 300,000. So one significant figure means you just keep whatever the first digit is, as long as you're doing the correct rounding, and every other position of those digits, the 9 becomes a 0, the 3 becomes a 0, the 5 becomes a 0, the 6 becomes a 0, and the 8 becomes a 0. So what you need to make sure you do in place value and significant figures is you keep the correct place value. So my number in A is roughly 300,000. If you get an answer of just 3, that's nowhere near 300,000. So you must make sure if you've got 6 digits in the question, you have to end up with 6 digits in your answer. Okay, so if I go now to 2 and I try and round that to 2 significant figures, that's telling me to keep the 2 and the 9 this time. All right, so I'm going to keep the 2 and the 9, but this time I am going to look at the next number after the 9. Oopsies, sorry about that. Which is a 3, and use the rounding rules. So this time the 3 is telling me that it's 4 or less, so I don't change the 9 in any way. However, I still have 6 digits in my answer, so I must make up my 6 digits by putting 4 zeros on the end. Notice 290,000 is roughly my answer. And if I go to the answers, yay, oh, it's not working, beautiful. There we go, we got 290,000. All right, so now let's look at the last one. The last one says, okay, round it to 3 significant figures. So if I'm using the same number, 293,568, I'm going to write down the 2, the 9 and the 3. But my next number this time is a 5. Now 5 in rounding rules, 5 or more means I round up, or I add 1 to the 3. So that means this is no longer a 3, it's actually a 4. Now I still have 3 spaces after the 293, which I've now rounded to 294, so I must put in 3 more zeros. So we get an answer of 294,000. Let's see if they got that. Yep, they did. Beautiful. We are correct. All right, so let's try it now for this decimal. I'll do it in a different color so you can see it. So let's do the same thing now with 0.07604. All right, so I'm going to write that over here. 0.07604. Now zeros in the front are not considered to be significant, so we're not going to count those. We're going to wait until we get to our first counting number. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. In this case, it's a 7. So I am rounding this one to the same as I, 1 significant figure. Okay? All right, so what I need to do is keep the 7 and get rid of all the others. All right, so I'm going to keep it up to there. But I'm going to look at the 6 to decide whether I need to round the 7 up or leave it as it is. Hopefully you notice the 6 is a 5 or more. So if it's 5 or more, that means we have to add 1 to the 7 or round it up. And if I do that, I get 0.08. Now in decimals, you don't have to put any more places after the number that you've rounded. Hopefully that should be far enough. If the question asks you for a particular rounding, you may need to add answers or zeros in. So let's have a look, and you'll notice down here they get 0.08 as well. All right, so let's try the next one. So now I think we have to round it to 2 significant figures. So in part 2 we have 0.07604 again. So again, my first significant figure is the first counting number, so my second significant figure comes after that, no matter if it's a 0 or not, okay? So this time it's a 6, but I need to look at the third one, which is a 0, and apply my rounding rules. Rounding rule says 0 means I don't round up, so I leave my answer as 0.076. Let's check and see if we got the same. Yep, we did. There it is there. Beautiful. Okay, so now let's try the third one. Same decimal. We're just this time going to do it 0.07604, this time to 3 significant figures. Now, if you have a 0 in between counting numbers, then it is now considered significant because it's taking up a place value. In this case, it's taking up, I think, the 10,000th position. So the 7 is still my first position, first significant figure. 6 is my second. The 0 now becomes my third. So that means I have to look at this one, the number 4, and decide whether I'm going to round the 0 up or leave it as it is. Well, 4, as you probably know, is in the rounding rules as 4 or less. So if it's 4 or less, that means I am not going to round the 0 in any way. And because I need to do it to 3 significant figures, I have to keep the 0 this time, and you'll notice we got the same answer as that one there. All right, so that's basic significant figures. So let's have a look and see if we can do question 1 together. So the questions, I've just changed them in green. That's what's on your Google Classroom page. Do 2 to 4, so that's 2, 3, 4, and then 6, 8, 9, and 10. Here we go. Number 1, complete the following to round through 5,368 to 3 significant figures. The first non-digit 0 is, hopefully you realise it's the 5. Okay, this is the first significant figure. The third significant figure is 5 is the first, 3 is the second, so 6 is the third. Okay, and then the digit after this is smaller, bigger than, or equal to 5. Well, it's an 8. So it's bigger than, isn't it? Indicating that when rounded, the number is closer to, the 7, I'm assuming, rather than to the 6. So rounded to 3 significant figures, 5, 3, 6, 8 becomes, make this bigger, 5, 3, 7, 0. Hopefully you got that. It's just easier to write with my pen when it's a bit bigger. So hopefully you got that. I'll check that in a minute, make sure I'm right. Okay, next one. 0.06253 to 3 significant figures. The first non-zero digit is 6. Sorry, terrible pen. This is the first significant figure. The third significant figure is, 2 after the 6 is a 5. Okay. The digit after this is smaller, bigger than, or equal to 5. So what comes after 5? The 3 comes after 5, so it's smaller than, isn't it? Indicating that when rounded, the number is closer to a 5 than to a 6. I'm assuming that means. So I think that they're trying to tell us, are we rounding that final digit of 5 or not? That's what I'm assuming they're trying to say. So rounded to 3 significant figures, 0.6253 is 0.6, oh, sorry, my bad, 0.6, oh, for God's sake, sorry, 0.625. Okay, so the 3 significant figures, 0.0625. I hope that helps. Bye, year 11.